recapture the deep sense of exploration, the joy of a pulsating adventure, and the thrill of leading your own band of companions across a new fantasy realm and into the depths of monster-infested dungeons in search of lost treasures and ancient mysteries. So gather your party, venture forth, and embrace adventure as you delve into a realm of wonder, nostalgia, and the excitement of classic RPGs with Obsidian's Pillars of Eternity. And this is how Obsidian Entertainment presents to us one of their gems of the cRPG genre, a game that surprised and didn't leave anyone indifferent, as it aimed to capture the essence of those intricate RPGs where every decision matters and you can spend hours and hours with it without realizing. The images will be from the first few minutes of the game, about half an hour or so, and I'll try to talk as little as possible about the peculiarities of the plot and the story. Also, if you'd like me to talk about a specific RPG in future videos, or if you think you know of a game that I might like and might not know about, let me know in the comments, and that way I can add more and more to the list. It came out in 2015. In other words, it's not a new game, neither something recent, but certainly it's not considered retro. The good thing about it not being a game of the present moment is that you don't need a particularly powerful computer. I can say that this game, just like other great RPGs of the present like Pathfinder or Divinity Original Sin, is ideal for lovers of classics like Baldur's Gate or Icewind Dale. These are games that simulate classic pen and paper role-playing games. Additionally, I'd like to mention that right now you can also enjoy it on many other platforms. It originally came out in 2015, as I mentioned before, but then it was released on PlayStation and Xbox One around 2017, I believe. And finally on the Nintendo Switch 4 years ago, so it came out in 2019. But not only that, if after watching the video you're interested in this game and you don't have it in your Steam library, stay tuned. At the end, I'll tell you how to participate in the giveaway that I will run over the next days. But let's get to the point and talk a little about this gem within Western role-playing games. To talk about Pillars of Eternity is to talk about cRPGs, and especially about a second wave that has come in recent years. Like I said, 2015, 2016, 2017 is when many games of this genre arrived. Many of you will remember old gems like Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Temple of Elemental Evil, Fallout 1 or Fallout 2. All of them games that gave us that sense of adventure, decision-making that affected the world every time you had to roll the dice. From around 2014-2018, a series of games started to appear that would revitalize this genre loved by so many of us. Titles like Divinity Original Sin, Pillars of Eternity, Wasteland 2, and a little later, Pathfinder Kingmaker. These were games that returned to that old style with isometric view, where you could control one or more adventurers on maps that encouraged exploration and searching for hidden objects. I love that feeling, and personally, it's one of the genres I like the most within RPGs. I love immersing myself in those worlds and planning each battle carefully, with pauses and details. Moreover, these are games that you usually get lost in for hours and hours, keeping you hooked for weeks. When I play one of these games, they stay in my head until I manage to finish them. And it's worth mentioning that Pillars of Eternity is based on a dark world with a very deep lore, a well-detailed universe. If you're interested in knowing the story well, there's a ton of text available to you in the form of books, dialogues, and even side quests. Because in this game, side quests add a lot to the main story. At no point did I feel like I was doing errand quests like in other games. The combat is fun, tactical, and demanding. You have to weigh your options carefully, deciding when to cast spells, when to save them, and which abilities will help your group. Furthermore, you must choose your team members wisely. The combat is in real time, meaning that once you select an enemy to attack, for example, you'll see them being attacked continuously. There's no need to give the order again. However, at any moment, you can pause and give specific instructions to a member or several members of your group, whether it's to move, cast a new spell, use an ability, or flee from combat. You can pause and control the situation at any time. An interesting and unique aspect of this game is that group members will talk during combat, indicating if a weapon or spell is ineffective against a specific opponent. The same goes for the opposite. If a spell or weapon is very effective, they'll let you know with a comment. The system is deep, allowing you to choose different ways to carry out your ideas. To plan each combat meticulously, this makes each battle feel different, but it never becomes overwhelming, unlike other games in the genre. Now, talking about characters and group control, let's also discuss a little bit about character creation. When you start the game, you'll see a window with many options at your disposal. You can choose the character's race, but not only that. Within each race, there's a sub-race that adds nuances to both the lore and the story of your character, as well as the initial statistics. You'll also select their class, and as usual in this genre, you can distribute points and abilities to customize your character as you wish. On screen, you'll always have all the information about the character creation options. In the game, you can manage a group of up to 6 adventurers, although if you want, you can play the entire game with just your main protagonist solo. Honestly, I've never tried it. It might get crazy, but you have it as a choice. You'll come across characters who will ask to join you. These characters you encounter throughout the world have their own race, class, and lore. Each of them is on their own missions, and you can help them complete those missions. Doing so will allow you to learn more lore about the world and the specific character. However, if you want to create a group exactly to your specifications, you can hire mercenaries that you can mold yourself. This way, you can create a team exactly as you want, with the classes and races you desire, but these mercenary characters won't have added missions or quests. Graphically, the game looks great. 8 years have passed, and it still looks fantastic to me, though of course, that's my opinion. As they say, different strokes for different folks. The music is also excellent. It accompanies you throughout the journey, and I find it perfect. In fact, I'd like to mention that many of the game's themes are usually used on streamings as background music. Now let's talk about encumbrance and other unique aspects of the game. You're going to be able to manage a stronghold, which is like a mini-game within the game. It includes a dungeon where you'll spend hours and hours. I won't comment on it further to avoid spoilers. Now let's talk about encumbrance and other unique aspects of the game. You're going to be able to manage a stronghold, which is like a mini-game within the game. It includes a dungeon where you'll spend hours and hours. I won't comment on it further to avoid spoilers. This is a game for people who enjoy well-crafted worlds with a lot of story and lore. If you want to delve deep into the world's knowledge, there's a ton of text available to you. But if you're not as interested, you can read just enough to get an idea of the main plot and focus on exploring dungeons and engaging in battles. Finally, I'll mention that the game has 2 DLCs. In the console versions, these are included. They contribute more story content, additional missions, and new playable characters. In conclusion, Pillars of Eternity is one of my favorite cRPGs on recent time. Personally, I find it ideal for those who are new to the RPG genre. Despite being dense, you can adjust the difficulty quite a bit. And I haven't mentioned this yet, but there are multiple difficulty levels to choose from. You can also customize a bunch of options that make the game easier or more challenging, depending on your preference. It's quite configurable. Its mechanics aren't overly complicated, and the options, though plentiful, aren't overwhelming. And that's all. If you have suggestions for games of this style that you think might interest me, or if you'd like to share your thoughts on Pillars of Eternity specifically, I'll be reading the comments. And importantly, if you've never played the game and you don't have it in your Steam library, but you'd like to have it after watching this video, leave me a message here in the comments. Let me know that you're interested in the game, subscribe to the channel, and you'll participate in a giveaway for a copy of Pillars of Eternity for Steam. If there's interest, I'll announce the winner in the next video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed, consider subscribing for more. Stay safe and see you in the next video.